So one of the things going on is the scramble for medical supplies, right? Essential medical supplies
Yes.
for what they're projecting is coming. And it's hitting certain places harder right now than other places. But by all the models, even the most optimistic models that were being shown, is it's going to get much worse in the next 2 weeks in particular.
Right.
Hopefully will peak within the next 2 weeks. Peak meaning the daily death toll. Like there will be a peak when it averages a certain amount of deaths a day in the United States, and then that daily death toll will diminish and get smaller and smaller. But ramping up to that peak, it takes, the ventilators that are being manufactured right now probably won't be done anytime near that peak. So it's a matter of finding what we need right now, what's out there in anticipation. And a state official was trying to purchase masks, probably more than masks, but from a particular company, American company. And that state official was told no, because there are foreign buyers that are willing to pay more.
Well, and what did we do? And look at what we did. You talk about idiocy. So we have China send us, I don't know how many millions of masks. And my first thought was, go ahead, be stupid. Bring those masks from China that are probably all infused with some kind of biological weapon to destroy us all. I mean, that's the insanity of this, Mike.
For those watching and listening, mom leans far to the conspiratorial.
And they're all coming true.
We all have that conspiratorial streak in us, but just because it's a conspiracy theory doesn't mean there aren't real conspiracies. So I hear what you're saying.
It's a trust issue. It's a trust issue.
Well, the facts on the ground are I'm creating a timeline. I'm getting into one of the other topics, but I'm going to create a timeline of when these things happen. For example, December 10th was the first diagnosed case in Wuhan. The first diagnosed case of this was in Wuhan, and then these other things happened. But one of the things that's coming to light right now is in January, I don't know about in late December, but in January, China started reaching out to all of their, they have businesses everywhere around the world, and they had many of their suppliers of whatever, their exporters, track down all the essential medical gear needed for this virus. And arguably, they knew it was going to get bad in their country, but they started pulling back supplies that belong to other countries. They had started shipping, because China just has been manufacturing these things for decades and has been shipping them for decades. So that's not abnormal. We've been getting our medical supplies from China for decades. And so, but because they hadn't been truthful about how things were going, they had a lead time to start procuring and pulling back a lot of medical supplies. And all the shipments, what I heard, one of the numbers I heard is the shipments that we regularly get from China were roughly 25% lighter than usual. And I would suspect that those smaller shipments that were lighter because of the medical gear that they needed for themselves or knew would be a hot commodity around the world. And they started selling it. They've been selling it. Like they sold $500 million worth to Spain, that ended up being a bunch of their products were faulty. I know you were saying maybe they'd be infused with the virus, but it's just as bad to give people false hope, thinking they're wearing a protective piece of equipment when it's not protective, and that's actually worse for somebody to go into a hotbed of viral activity thinking they have protective gear on, but don't.
So I was right.
And that's the thing, like conspiracy theories, just about any conspiracy theory it's going to start with truthful information, and it may go off in one direction or another. But getting back to this company, there's a specific company, an American company, that was not selling to the US government, Florida, a state official from Florida. And so the United States, or the president, enacted the Defense Production Act. Well, that's already been, I don't know the official terms, but are you familiar with that? The Defense Production Act?
Oh, yeah.
The law that was written up during the Korean War in case of emergencies. Right. It never been used until now. Well, he's been using it when needed. Like, you only use it when you need to. If there are companies that are willingly helping, then he doesn't need to use it. But this particular company was selling to the highest bidder, and everybody in the world needs these products, but it's an American company, and the products are here in America, and we need it. And so he used his authority, and I would say responsibly in that case. And guess what the name of the company is?
What?
It just occurred to me this morning. So you could technically call our show 3M, right? Miracle, Mom, and Michael.
And guess where 3M is?
Where?
Minnesota.
Oh my God.
Minneapolis.
All right. So
I've been there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Used to drive by it all the time.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that's fascinating. So 3M, Miracle, Mom, and Michael? No. What I did hear is it's not the workers, because the news report they were interviewing, it's not the workers. They have no control over that. They're just Americans going to work and making masks and stuff. But it's the decision makers that were making the wrong decisions. And the good thing about America and Christianity, which I do want to mention, our show is, Mom and I are Christians, so we come to this from a Christian perspective, is Christians forgive. Right? We forgive. Like, 3M should not be targeted for their bad acting. There was one bad actor, or maybe it was the board acting badly and not putting our country first, which it should be. But even though they were forced to do something that they didn't want to do, they have the opportunity to come to their senses and say they're sorry, and they'll be forgiven. And that's the beauty of America, or it was, or it should be. We forgive. Do you have any final thoughts on that topic, Mom?
Nope.
All right. We've belabored that one. We'll come back to it.